Hey guys, it's Mark Ling here, and in this video we're going to look at 7 tips for affiliates who run Facebook ads. Now, I run a lot of separate ad accounts and so forth on Facebook that go really well. I'm showing you an income screenshot there just so you know I know what I'm talking about of one ad account that is successful, where I spend anywhere from around about $750 a day. And obviously, I'm doing pretty good in terms of my overall profit and so forth from that particular ad account as a 90% affiliate of that offer. I will show you that offer and so forth in a moment, but this video, it's all about 7 tips for affiliates who run Facebook ads, and the tips come from me critiquing other people's ads and so forth and seeing the odd little mistake being made and so forth, and I just decided, screw it, I'm just going to record this video so that a lot of you guys can avoid these mistakes or potential mistakes from happening in the first place and have a lot more success with your campaigns if you are an affiliate. Okay, so one of them is to include multiple pages on your website. So a lot of people try to just have like a 1-page or a 3-page website, and you can, at times there's the odd case where people get away with that, particularly if they manage to get through and get an aged account going and so forth. But a lot of the time, you know, less pages does tend to look like you are, as far as their algorithm's concerned, I believe anyway with Facebook, you are less likely to be a serious business than one that's got all of these sort of pages. Like I tend to do this on my affiliate sites, and you might think, hey, that's a lot of work adding all of these pages, but remember, you're just doing it once, and then the next time you build an affiliate site you can just replicate it and fill in the blanks. It becomes a lot easier. Like we'll have home, shop, reviews, references, shipping, members, contact, privacy policy, about us, how it works, frequently asked questions, and articles. For example, Radiant Life Lessons. Now, this is the site where this screenshot came from. This is just one example of one of my affiliate sites. And if you want to see me building that site from scratch, because I built it in front of a bunch of students from scratch, in front of them, you can see that at commissionsclub.com/training. So commissionsclub.com/training, and then you click on the 1-hour affiliate site, and you'll see me building the site from scratch, building all of these pages out: home, shop, reviews, everything. Like shop's quite simple. It's just simply a page where you've just got a few offers mentioned on the one page, so that you look like a genuine site with multiple offers. Because a Facebook human reviewer, or even the algorithm, they want to know, how are you monetizing your traffic? Because any genuine website usually has some sort of a way of monetizing that traffic. So having a shop page makes it really obvious. Reviews, that could be testimonials from the offer that you're promoting. References, you might go ahead and go on to scholar.google.com and look up a whole bunch of articles, scientific research papers to do with the topic that you are promoting a product on, and you can put them all in there as references, and it just adds to the trust factor. And obviously there's all these other little pages as well. It seriously can be done once you really get good at it, all in under an hour. Most people take about 3 to 6 hours the first time they're setting up a site like this, but it's well worth the effort. And then after that, you can just replicate your sites and just change the text, obviously, for promoting another offer and so forth. So tip number 1, though, include multiple pages in your website. Don't take the shortcuts, because you want to build a site that can make you money for the long term. Tip number 2 is use a photo on your Facebook page. I have found that when you use no photo, like an example here, there's no photo there, it's a brand image. I've found in general that to work a lot worse than, say, this, where there's a photo there. See the photo there? I believe the reason why that happens and works better, converts better and so forth, is just simply down to human nature of how we use our social media. We're used to looking at our friends making posts and stuff like that on Facebook, on Instagram, and it'll have their photo there next to their post. So when an advertisement is there, we know it's an ad, but it is a little bit more disarming psychologically, I guess, by having a photo there. So I highly recommend you do, and zoom in on the face if you can, like not this real zoomed out image where you can't even make out who the heck's in there. Like zoom in on a face, and that I highly recommend. And even better, we've found that you should name your Facebook page a person's name. So your website might be, in this case, tipsaboutlove.com, but the Facebook page, you call it Maria from Tips About Love, and have a person's photo there, and it tends to do better on average than just a page name alone. Now, you don't have to do it that way. Certainly a page name alone is working as well for a lot of people, but I've found that seems to be even more engaging. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, include all placements. Some people like to separate these placements out, but then it ends up costing a lot more to do so. So I put them all in at once and let Facebook figure out which of these is working well and which isn't. So when you get to put these placements in, just include them all. Include all devices too, mobile, desktop, whatever. Let Facebook over time figure out which is converting better and which isn't. And over time, you will get better and better results if you can just get it profiting reasonably well, or even break even in the first, say, 50 to 100 sales. It tends to get better and better as things go on, as the Pixel learns from those sales and so forth. Include all placements. Now, another thing, make sure to analyze the main hook of the product and use it in your first sentence if you can, and use it in your headline. That's at least one way of writing copy. In this case, it's promoting a product called Infatuation Scripts is what it's called. And the main hook, when if you're really analyzing the product before promoting it, the main hook is that men don't choose women just based on logic. Like they might have a whole bunch of checklist of stuff that they would want in their ideal woman, but then that's the kind of girl they often push away because they end up being a pushover, the girl that tries to be too perfect. And there's been research by Rutgers University that men are more likely to fall for someone who has a deep infatuational attachment to them, so to speak. So I kind of wrote that as, okay, so you've got a hook. The hook is men don't choose women for logical reasons. They fall for someone who can make them feel the powerful emotion of infatuation. Okay, and then I further explained it a little bit further. They make many decisions based on logic, except for whom they fall for. Okay, so I want to give people that little aha moment that's going to lead them into want to watch that video sales letter and possibly buy the product. And then the call to action text, that headline text down the bottom, says how to activate his infatuation instinct. So again, it's all to do with the hook. It's all to do with the main part of the product, because I want to get not just several people clicking through, but I want the right people clicking through. It's much better. I could have written a more curious headline and hook that had nothing to do with the product and people would not buy. They would click through and they won't buy, and they might show angry faces on my ad, stuff like that. That's not what you want. You want to have something that's highly in line with what you're promoting. Sometimes a good idea is to look at their email swipes that are in the affiliates area of the offer that you're promoting. That can give you ideas, and obviously it's a good idea to have a look at the sales copy of the product itself. Even if you have to sit there and watch the first 5 minutes of a video sales letter and take a few notes, that can sometimes be helpful as well in terms of coming up with ideas for how you would go about your wording. Obviously, you've got to be Facebook compliant as well. You can't. You should go through facebook.com/blueprint if you haven't already. It's facebook.com/blueprint, and do at least some of their lessons so that you can get an idea of what compliance looks like for Facebook. So you can't make a promise like you will make him fall in love with you forever. You can't write that into your ad, but you can go about it in the way that I'm showing you here. Okay, so that's tip number 4. Tip number 5, include an early call to action link. I've seen some people go ahead and not have an early call to action link. They write this big essay of an ad and then have a link, and they'll tell me their conversions aren't good enough, and then we'll put an early call to action link in, and then bam, the conversions go up. Okay, so I think that it's quite important that, if possible, put in, especially for an affiliate ad or an ad promoting a low ticket product, have an early call to action link. In this case, I've written what I call a two-phase ad. Phase one is you've got your hook, and you're sort of generating some attention, interest, desire inside the first 3 sentences. And it includes a call to action, early call to action. And then you've got benefits. So these are the benefits that happen if they, from either watching the video or from activating a man's infatuation instinct as such. Like if you've activated his instinct, then he becomes concerned with her self-worth, becomes her #1 fan. He sees this woman with his heart, not just her eyes. Differences become nullified. He becomes excited to spend time with her. He wants to make her feel genuinely spectacular. Like, it's the benefits that happen once that has been activated. So the benefits of having the outcome. So benefit go in there. So you've got your hook, call to action, benefits, call to action. That's your two-phase approach. That's one way. There are other ways as well, which we'll get to in a moment. And we're here at it now. Try different types of ads. So you may want to try a story ad where you still got to look at the hook of the ad itself, and try and get that in there early in some way. In this case, it's to do with metabolism and an after dinner ritual. They put it in the 3rd sentence. Perhaps it could have come earlier, but they're trying to get into the story there, so that they're able to say, hey, look, I did this happened to me, and this is, and the reason why it's easier to do that is you can't make promises to other people in your ads. You've got to either be like my two-phase approach or tell a story, but tell it about yourself. Facebook doesn't mind that. So in that case, that's what's gone on here. And it's just a very, very short ad before I cut off the link, but there's a link below the image. And there's no link within the ad itself in this case, but I would recommend that I would consider trying an approach like this with a link, and then add all the benefits, and then another link, because if someone doesn't expand out, they'd still see this part, and if they do expand out, you've got even more chance of making the sale. I would probably have it's still a two-phase approach, but with a story on top if it was me. But it's all about testing. Try different types of ads. Don't just give up on one ad if it's not working, because quite often it takes a few opportunities or a few chances, a few goes at it to get it right. Okay, so my next tip is to have one ad set per campaign, one interest per ad set, and one ad per ad set. I'm not really sure where to put my face here when I've got all this stuff all over the screen, but you don't need to see it all anyway. So the reason for this is that we tend to find that if you can find a profitable interest that is a reasonably wide interest, then that tends to be like a lot more predictable as an approach and scalable than if you have like 10 interests all put together and you get some early results, and then next thing you know it's not making sales, and then it is, and then it isn't, and then you have to take forever to figure out if it's right or not, because you're getting so many audiences mixed up that Facebook's trying this and trying that and trying this and trying that. But if you just got one interest, let's say it's people that are into romance novels and you're promoting a dating and relationship product, and it converts well to the audience of, 18 million people that like romance novels. Great. Now you can run ads for months with that 18 million people, right? So, it doesn't have to be 18 million. It could be as little as 1 million as an audience, or even lower sometimes. But the key is we stick to one ad set per campaign, one interest per ad, generally one ad per ad set. But if you're going to go with more than one ad because you want to split test different things, don't make them radically different, just slightly. So let's say you might just have a different image so that Facebook can figure out which is the right image. Or maybe it's just a different headline text, your call to action text. Or maybe it's a different first line of your ad, and just test something small. Otherwise, you won't even know what made the difference anyway. And if you're going to have 2 ads per ad set, generally I end up with 1 ad per ad set. Once I have an ad that's working well, it's just a matter of seeing if I can find more and more interest that I can profit at. You'll notice there's $25 a day daily budget. Generally, I'll start off with $25 a day for each campaign, right? So $25 a day generally for each ad set or whatever. And if I haven't made a sale in the first $50, I'll shut it off and get on to the next one. And it's all about trying to find, over time, find as many ads as I can that make around about, anything under about $33, $34 per result is great. If I can get it down to $25 per result, that's great. I've shown you, you can see a few of mine right here. I've got some that have had way more purchases in that space of time. Sorry, way lower cost per purchases, but may have less results. Like it might have 30 sales, but they're at $12 per result, and that's great because some of these kitschy audiences might be a little bit smaller, but they may end up better. It all depends on a variety of factors anyway. But if I'm making on average, I think it's $55 a sale in commissions when you include upsells and everything else, it becomes quite worthwhile. It might be just under 55, it might be 50, something like that. It works out to be more than worthwhile anyway as a cost per result. So I look for 1 sale at least in the first $50. After $100, I want to see at least 3 sales, preferably. If I see 2, depending on how many good results I've already got going, I may keep it, I may not, at 2. Definitely, if I did keep it, I'd look, by the time I got to 200 sales, I really want to see 5 or 6 sales. Sorry, $200 spent. I want to see 5 or 6 sales. I really, really want to see 8 though, ideally. But at 6, I'd probably keep going because it takes a while before you really know. Because Facebook does get a little bit better over time too. So by the time I spent $500, I really, really should be around. I should be knowing exactly what my cost per result is, and it's something I can find a lot more reliable, not necessarily on a daily basis, but on a weekly basis and so forth. Okay, so there's that. And usually if I want to go for more, I'll replicate the ad. If I want to go for more within the interest that I'm targeting, I found it to be better to replicate the ad and keep spending $25 a day rather than to increase the budget to say $50. It seems to work better like that. Okay, so that's tip number 7, and I've got a bonus tip for you. Now, my bonus tip is to set up campaigns for USA that are separate from outside the USA. Let's go back. You'll see that I've got www. That means worldwide outside the USA in my little naming conventions here, but yet US, that means within the USA only. Okay, so if you want to grab my exclusions list, you can go to commissionsclub.com/exclusions and you get all of these countries here. You'll notice the United States is included in that. That's because if I'm targeting USA, it's in its own group. It's in its own ad set, right? Or campaign. So outside the USA, you'll exclude all of those countries, including the USA. And what you tend to find for a lot of markets outside USA will produce better results than inside the USA, and vice versa, depending on the interest and depending on competition as well. Because a lot of your competitors a lot of standard affiliates that don't really think too much about it, they'll target USA, and then they might have another ad group that targets Canada, Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and then that's it, and they don't even think and realize that all of these other countries, whether it be Singapore, Denmark, you name it, they're actually quite often buying a lot as well, or at least buying enough when you add them all together. Individually, maybe not, but added all together, they can quite often produce results that are equal to or better than the inside USA results, at least in terms of your dollars spent per sale. Because don't forget, those clicks are often cheaper than the US clicks. So it's all about spending money to make money. So it might take 1,000 clicks, whereas in the US it might take 500 clicks. But if those 500 clicks costed $500 and that 1,000 clicks costed $400, then, you know, it's still cheaper to make the sale. So anyway, that's a bonus tip. So every time you set up an interest, I would set up one for the USA and one outside USA as well. And you may find that they both are profitable for you. Great. Or you may find only one is profitable and you keep that going. All right, so that's it for me for this particular video. I will be recording another video showing you how to come up with interests and so forth, because you're probably wondering, well, okay, that's all well and good, but how do I go about generating these interests in the first place if I'm targeting one interest per ad group and so forth? So I'll record a separate video on that shortly, so look out for that. All right, that's it from me. I'll see you next time. Bye for now, everyone.